Welcome to the third and last part of my studio tour for 2021. And this episode will focus mainly on this old Soundtracks FME console that I acquired from one of my friends, Dennis. And this is a very interesting desk because it has been built in the 80s, but there aren't many information going on about what the FME is and why you should consider something like this. And as far as I'm concerned, it has been built for the British broadcasting standards, and that's why it has a very unique layout. So the FME series came out in the 80s and it was designed for broadcasting purposes and then also for recording. And Soundtracks just invented a very clever system because every desk that you can buy is specially equipped and custom made for you. So you have different mastered modules and different channel modules. And this one is particularly interesting because the first two channels are mono and the other 22 channels are stereo, which means I have around 46 inputs in just this very small workspace. That is amazing. I can have all my individual sounds hooked up here. I can switch them to mono, so I can also use every stereo channel as a mono channel, and then I can work with every sound source that I have. And these are on the other side that I showed you in the first episode, and that's it really. You have a nice British sounding EQ, which is very warm and grabby. Then you have 4 auxiliaries, and then you have two stereo groups, and the main out and the pen pod, and that's it. Nothing too special, but the sound is really cool. And also every channel is an own module, meaning I can take out every individual channel and change them. And that's what I did, and that's also what the owner before me did, changing out op-amps and different parts of the console to make it sound better or interesting. So that's what I will do in the future. So the first 8 parts will have different input, have different op-amps, and then the second side will also have some different sounding op-amps. So I have a really nice mixing console that has different sounds to offer. To the layout, the first 2 channels are mono channels, and they are connected to my Yomox and my MPC. Here comes out the kick drum, so the kick drum from the MPC and the kick drum from the Yomox. The mono channels have an insert, and this insert goes down to my Rupert-Neve R10 API 500 rack or enclosure, to the Rupert-Neve 542 tape saturation and the Empressor 500, so I can shape the kick drums afterwards, after they've been coming to my desk, and then I can record them directly to the direct out to my M32 Pro AD converter. And that's it really. So my recording strategy is that I have my all my stereo channels that are either sent to the main out, and the main out is connected to the M32 Pro as well, or to the 4 groups or the 2 stereo groups, which also have inserts. So they go either to the Envelope 500 or the Expressor 500 or the EQ one from Phable. And then I can do some additional post-processing before they go into my conversion and then into the DAW. That's my workflow right now. I'm not fully satisfied with the workflow right now. I think there have to be some changes as well, because I would like to record the auxiliaries separately, and I found a way by putting them to my patch bay down below, and then send out the auxiliary sounds separately to my converter, so I can record all the auxiliary signal path stages separately as well, and that is great. So I'll find a way to make this work. Apart from that, the sound is quite interesting. It's warm, it's noisy, a little bit dirty, but for what I'm doing, it's quite complementary. It's really organic sounding. I like the sound of that desk. I will have to do some fine tuning, but to be honest with you, it sounds better than a Mackie 8 bus, and it has lesser noise, a smaller footprint. I mean, normally, you have 46 inputs on a 32 channel console from Mackie, which is like that, or Soundcraft. You have way more space that you need. So it's amazing that you have this small footprint. Also, this console got a newer PSU from Blue Dog, which also improved the overall sound and the noise floor. So it's a really rich sounding desk that I will use in the future more and more. And I'll have to learn it. I always wanted to have a desk to be able to jam out on the desk, and then just don't have the DAW running and just jam out, and sometimes to have tracks that are in this hot mixing desk that gets warmer every time, and it's more organic, and it starts to compress a bit when you drive the main out more. That's something interesting, you know. That's how many of our records back in the day were made, and that's where I'm coming from. I'm born in '89, and all my tracks that I've listened to, especially from the 2000s or from the 90s, that era of house music, had always this analog texture and analog character, and I like that. I think that's subconscious written down in my genetic code now, because it's the same with tape. I also have a tape machine that I will show you at some point. And once I heard how tape sounds and what it does to the sound, to the signal, I said, yeah, that's how records should sound like. And I love the clear and the pure sound of converters. I love that. And it's always something I'll have to strive for, because voices, I like to have clean and pristine and to the utmost quality. Drums, on the other hand, I want them to have a little bit more dirt. The same goes for bass. Whereas pads and synth sounds and chords, they can be warm and pristine as well. So to have a converter that captures everything from the dirt to the hi-fi quality of a sound, that is paramount for me. So I don't want a converter that is adding more to the original sound, and that's why I have units like this mixing board, or the Elusia stuff down here that gives me texture to my sounds. Down below there, I don't know if you can see that. I will have to show you that wall, is the Akai MFC analog filter module. Really good, needs the servicing, but it has that hard, harsh Akai sound that I really enjoy. It's great for many sounds, and if you know guys like Ian Pooley, he uses that one on every sound and has this like filter house quality. And this filter house, I love that with the Akai, because you can have trigger inputs, or you can have MIDI inputs. You can clock the LFO or the envelope to an external source, and then just have a really groovy analog filter that works magic on chords and drum bosses and everything. So that's really the strength of this filter module. Down below here, I will show you that is my Ensoniq DP4, which I mainly use for phasing and choruses. It's also the unit that Daft Punk used day in and out for their homework record, and I think also for Discovery, because the phaser sound is so great. So the DP4 is like the go-to effects module or box if you want to have that filter house or French touch house. And since I was 10 when Discovery came out and Daft Punk was like the biggest group for me, I had to get one of these. So yeah, that's my studio so far. I will do a lot of jams on the studio, in the studio, once I have a workflow set up that I enjoy. And then I will do some studio live streams and also studio jams that I will upload. So you will get finally more music from me. I also have now a record that is coming out on Plastic City, which is called Acid Motion, and that one will be coming out later this year, and I will do a studio inside how I recorded everything, how I treated the master bus and stuff like that. So lots of fun stuff coming this year. I hope you enjoyed this rundown of my studio. Leave a comment, please subscribe to my channel. I would really like to hit 1,000 subscribers this year, and see you next time.